especially for you, because I always say this. I mean, I just sit there if I'm playing Gene and just grunt and groan and get it like, but you have control of the audience, which is got to be the best because I like. It's like, oh, I wish I could, say the things that you say to get them out of their minds. Because Gene only has certain things that, like, I love it loud. You're interacting with the crowd, but you have it the whole show.
The it is that to me that is the coolest part about it. I mean, and that's what makes it different. But see, that's a whole, and that's why there's like different bands have different chemistry, and that's like one of the reasons why I always enjoyed playing with you and Kistery because you appreciate what like I'm trying to do. And if I want to go off on and pull some obscure rap out, like I can do it without feeling like, oh, I'm not going to hear about it later. Like some bands want to stick to the script of just Alive 1 and 2, and if you say anything else, it's like they get worried, that people won't get it or they won't know what's going on. And yeah, there is like I think the older I've gotten and the more I've done it, um, if you look at different periods of Kiss themselves and like even I at this point like can go back and look and watch like for example like Rock the Nation period where Paul was like talking way too much, and kind of like it backfired a little bit because I think that's when like he started to wear his voice out a little bit by doing so many raps, But there's but that's the cool thing about the shows is every show is different, and and when you can play off the crowd, and if like something happens in the crowd, you can play off of it.
You have first view, and you're the one showing, controlling that, and so you can do whatever you want. You can improv and come up with some good shit too. I've heard you improv before too.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the fun of it for me. It really is. And that's what makes it different. Because I don't like even like when I see regular bands like, and I feel like, and nowadays like it's hard to be spontaneous with with YouTube and everything. But when you feel like, or when you realize like especially like back in the day, like all the bands that we really liked, they probably were doing the same exact show every night, but we didn't really get to see every show. But then when you watch like the old bootleg videos and stuff, and you see, okay, well, even though Kiss played like 25 cities, you can find something with every show, especially if you're watching Paul. The little bit of different like nuances and like, oh, we said this night, and he basically said the same thing the night after, but he changed it up a little bit, and like that's what's fun about it when you can take some liberties and like apply it to whatever's going on in whatever city you're in, and and then even just the phrasing, like even just like singing the songs, like it's always fun to maybe do the different phrasings, like sing Detroit like you did in Australia one night, or do it more 76 the other night, and that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, that's what I like to do. Also, I like to when being with me, there's always costume. Whatever we're doing in the costume, I pretty much want to stay to that.
Yeah.
And then do that whatever that era was. I always go by the costumes, especially by the venue. I go by the big venue. We could do like now we could do Unmasked, and right now I'm working on Dynasty. Right now they're in production. The Dynasty costumes for Paul and Peter are in production at McBriar Studios. Dave, shout out. I love you. But they're in the works.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean that was always, and that was always another idea that like I I still never, even with bands like History that have like different eras of costumes that they can do. Um, I guess there's some Beatles bands that have done it where like they'll do one set in a completely different costume, and from the second set, and like um, that part, I think it's tougher. It's tougher with a Kiss band
It's
because
only tough. I think it's only tough on the Gene of the band because of the armor. Especially if you're dealing with the armor, sometimes you can slip in and out of it.
yeah,
Because that's the idea I do with the Peter Chris now doing the first set, and then
right,
Eric Carr doing the second set. So
yeah,
when most of these places we've been playing lately, they have an intermission. So now you got that 25 minutes for the easier the guys like Paul, and we can just easily switch up easily.
yeah.
But it would give me time to like slip the armor on. But I mean, you wouldn't be able to do. You could do 3 sets like those Beatles guys do because I know what you're talking about.
But
How they
then,
do
then,
it.
but then you got to deal with the makeup and make sure that the makeup looks
Yeah,
fresh for the
yeah.
second, for the first set, and that's when it gets a little. And then if there's any differences in well, but there's not too many. But if there's like differences in the makeup for like especially like with Ace or like I guess, but that's when you start getting real too technical. Like, oh well, he had the blue in his eyes for this era, but he didn't have it for that era, something like that.
Right,
But
you can't,
yeah,
you see, then you're stepping into what I call the kiss tards
yeah, believe me,
territory.
I'm the last one to agonize over that. And then
Oh,
that's always been my that's always been a little bit of my frustration too. Is like because even though I appreciate all the visuals of Kiss and that's definitely a big part of the show, I was always more focused on the sound. Like I always you know no matter how good the band looks to me, if it didn't sound right, then to me it was just as important. And it's
right.
like it bums me out when like a band might look good, but I'm just like I don't hear it. But then again, now Kiss has been around so long, and they themselves have sounded different from their start to their end. That depending on the crowd you're playing for, they might not even realize what Paul in the '80s might have even sounded like, or what he sounded like in '78. Like they might know only what he sounded like in 2012, or and
Well,
later. So,
playing with me, I've always, history's always been high energy. I mean, I have some guys in and out of the band, like, they're worried about tempos. I said, well, it's kind of hard because when you're out there on stage, you want to go with the energy. I go with the energy. I go with the adrenaline rush. I go with that. I mean, are you going to fuck up? Absolutely. Is shit going to happen? Absolutely. But you
yeah,
just work your way through it. But I mean, I've always put the energy in. I'd rather hear the songs with energy than hear this slow version of the Kiss songs. I don't want to hear it because there's no energy. I recently played Hotter Than Hell with this band, and I don't know if it was slower than the album, but it was like a snail's crawl of playing it. And by playing in all these bands that we played in, that we can play with anybody's tempo because that's where you are as a professional. You can hear the tempo, you go with it. You don't sit there and try to slow down the tempo playing guitar to the drummer. If the drummer sets the beat, that's what you got to go with.
right.
You
Yeah,
can't sit there. I hear it all the time, but that's my lunch.
there's no reason why you can't like steak and cheesecake. Um, but yeah, I mean, but all the bands that had the double bass and the Tommy Lees and Hot for Teacher and like so, you know,
Right. It was, and we all know Kiss is great at going this is what happened to Queen too, I believe. This is just my theory, so don't kill me. Bands like Queen and Kiss, they went with it, with whoever was in vogue, they went with it. If disco was in, Kiss did a disco rock, and then they did Unmasked, which was kind of popish and stuff, and then they did their concept album with At the Elder. And the same thing with Queen. Queen went with the times. Queen was, I mean, I don't, Hot for Space is a tough sell for me. I love Under Pressure, but the rest of the album, after coming from the game, you know, But Kiss was great at going with the flow.
Yeah. I just watched the interview. Billy Corgan just did a two-part interview with Paul Stanley, and Billy Corgan was trying to say like, apparently I didn't even realize he was that big of a Kiss fan, but according to Billy Corgan, he was like he's into all the eras of Kiss, and he says, you know, in during the time of like the '80s and like when it looked like Kiss was trying to keep up with the Joneses and follow the trends.
Right.
He said that like looking back, he could kind of see where like Kiss was almost setting the tones in some ways, and just other bands might have been copying them. Like, it's
Oh,
funny if
definitely
you
Motley Crue. Motley Crue definitely copied Kiss. Motley Crue is a blatant ripoff. Yes.
well, listen to "Talk Dirty to Me."
Yeah.
The
Oh
beginning
yeah,
is Deuce.
definitely Poison. Yeah.
The beginning is Deuce almost. It's like
Yeah.
uh, and then you had what was the other one that came out later? Who was that? And I'm all lit up again. Da da da. That would shock me. It was
Well,
basically
Gene.
shock me with.
Playing Gene. I realized that he stole a lot of things from Paul McCartney because there's so many
Yeah,
songs.
yeah. Everybody
That
steals from that.
yeah. So so they were stealing from Kiss, like Poison and Motley
Yeah.
Crue, and probably a
Well,
few other
yeah.
ones.
Kiss stole from the Beatles and the Stones and Hotter Than Hell is Paul's version of All Right Now. I mean, it's not exactly the same song, but you can hear where he got the idea.
Right.
Deuce is "Bitch" by the Rolling Stones, and with the intro being from the Raspberries, and like so that
Well, yeah, same thing with Hard Luck Woman. Yeah, Hard Luck Woman sounds like Rod Stewart.
right. Well, yeah, and yeah, basically Paul purposely tried to write a Rod Stewart song, and he was going to give it to Rod Stewart, and Peter's like, "No, I'm going to sing it."
Give me that song. Give me that
Give
song.
me
I
that
can't
song,
breathe.
I'm quitting the band. That's the story you always hear, that Peter was going to quit the band if they didn't give him a song. I'm going to this. I'm going to this Kiss thing in November, which
Oh,
you
in
know,
Vegas?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's the big news, yo! Right here, live, exclusively, our Kiss
yeah,
Tribute World podcast. Chris will be going to Vegas.
yeah. But and luckily for Mr. Speed and Kiss Nation, they're part of the show. So so we'll see how that goes. And it's like it's like Paul's been saying. It's like a locked-in Kiss cruise on land, which I like a lot better than being on the
Oh,
boat.
you also been on the Kiss cruise, and I will and when I go to edit this, send me the footage of when you were on the Kiss cruise
With Sophie.
um, with Chelsea, yeah, because that was great. Because she says the same thing I say. Dude, he says the same. Hold on, it's insane. Yeah, you got to send me that footage, and I'll edit it in.
Yeah, that was cool.
Edit her out. Edit her out. Paul, is this for the documentary? Edit her out. We'll have Kiss exposed.
While we put this together. That's so funny. That's the other thing. It's so funny. Like, there's guys that like they can do. I never feel like I can do like when like Paul's like interview voice, like his normal speaking voice is a little bit deeper, and I can't. I never feel like I can do his regular speaking voice as well as the stage one. Um, but yeah, yeah. So that was like the whole Star Child moment thing was like basically going throughout my day in Paul's stage voice. You know,
I literally got so hooked on it, and so did my sister. It was just, I couldn't wait the next day. I gotta hear what Chris is doing.
and the other weird thing is that like when I was doing it, it felt like it was definitely like fun and just like the thing to do. especially when I had my driving job, because I was always in the car, the truck. But now, and this, I don't know, this is just like me. It's something that goes in my head, like, like now you got like all everybody and their mother not doing like what I was doing, but like the fact that you'll see people filming in their car, and it's just like, I don't know. It's just like everybody's gotten crazy with a camera and a phone now. It's like everybody's got a show.
Right. We got a show right here about Kiss Tribute World people.
Yeah. But yeah, that's cool. That's cool. But like, in fact, I remember seeing I don't know, what was that guy's name on the late night show when he had the carpool karaoke. I feel like I started that, didn't I? I felt like I in the car in the truck singing along, doing Kiss songs and stuff, and I'm like, and now it's like, oh, carpool karaoke. Oh, like, where'd they get this from? It's like, I don't know. It's just now, or all different versions of, you got comedians driving in their car telling jokes.
Right.
So I don't know. I felt like I did it in the infancy of everybody doing that. Now I feel like I'm going back, and I'll get lost in the pond. To the,
Let's go back to a Star Child moment. Hold on.
Performance at
There you go.
the
Star Child
Hudson
moment.
Music Hall, and some evildoer was trying to block us in, and nobody stops Kiss. Right, James? Yeah! We were just doing a nice memorial for Mark Needham. Is that his name? Yeah. Right? I was right. Mark Needham. And God bless them, and we had a good time. We did 6 songs. The people enjoyed it. And then we were trying to leave, and some crazy evildoer was sitting there in the car. He was blocking Kiss. We had more bad news. And it was bad news, people. You're not supposed to have bad news after rock and roll night. It's supposed to be good news. So anyway, I got to get home, get cleaned up, and I'll see you soon! Woo!
the evildoers. Evildoer!
Remember that night? Trying to block us in, wouldn't let us out.
Oh, yeah, well, that's right.
I grabbed my baseball bat. Remember, I grabbed my baseball bat and said, listen, either you let us out of here or we're going to make a popsicle out of you.
I forget the reason, though. Why was he blocking us in?
Because apparently there was a parking lot dispute between the venue and the guy next door that apparently owned the parking lot where we parked. We didn't know. How are we supposed to know that there's a showdown at the OK Corral? You know what I mean? In the parking lot.
Right. Yeah. I definitely remember. I just didn't remember the details why we were blocked in. That's like that reminds me. The evildoer thing is I use that line. I also use that line back when my old band Casteria. We played the New Jersey New York Kiss Expo one year, and we had equipment stolen out of the van. I remember going on stage and I was saying, "Yeah, some evildoer broke into our van and took all our equipment." Which was partly true. Like I think the only reason we had our guitars was because we brought them to the room. But like I think they stole some amps or whatever. Richie Rano, from Stars, who ran the expo, he was nice enough to get us some equipment so that we were able to do the show. We had fun doing those expos. We did the last expo that he ever did. We did the last 3 in a row. I can't believe how long ago that was. But that was fun.
Were you at the expo where I know the girl from Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park, the one that played the bad girl, what's her name? Oh, I'll never remember. Were you at that one where she was at? Because I seen some pictures with a tribute band that she was with.
I don't remember. I don't remember. I mean, we may have been there, but I mean, the
I
years that
know,
we
yeah,
did it were
because she had a yeah, she had a
2000.
picture of her in a tribute band. So I don't know. It was at an expo, but I don't know if it was. It might not have been the New Jersey one.
Hmm. Yeah, we did 2006. That was and 2008 was the last one that he did. Um, and they were fun. I mean, and talking. I mean, those kinds of shows. You know, when you're doing like a hardcore Kiss event, unlike the bands are doing in Vegas, like those are the kind of shows where you could do the obscure stuff and people eat it up. I remember I got to go back and learn how to play it, but like 'cause I can't remember what the middle section is, but like we did the Oath and we did stuff like that at one of the expos and it sounded really good. But then if you do that at a random club, it's like or theater, that for the general public, they're going to be like, "What the hell is this? What song is that?" So
Exactly. Yeah, go with that. We just had this conversation too in the last
yeah,
podcast about
yeah,
majority of the people that are going to come see you are going to know the classics, so you got to play them. I
right,
hear it all the time.
right.
They don't like people don't like playing rock and roll all night. Well, dude, you got to play rock and roll all night. You got to play Love Gun. You got to play those certain songs. I mean,
Yeah. Well, I just saw what was it a couple of weeks ago already. I saw Ace here in Philly, and man, um, you know, of course, I mean the people there knew Ace, and like he could have played things like Hard Times, and people would have ate it up, but it was like the most basic. If you never heard Kiss or you barely know Kiss type of a set, like, Cold Gin, Parasite, Rock and Roll Night, Deuce. But, like, no Snowblind, no Hard Times, no, none of that. I would love to hear that. But, I guess, people want to hear Cold Gin more
I don't know.
than Hard
I don't
Times.
know anybody that. I mean, I walked out of it. I couldn't take any more of it. But I mean, I don't want to hear that whatever the heck Cherry Blossom or whatever the frick he's talking about.
It's medicine. And I love Ace. I love Ace, but the way he phrases the word medicine drives me crazy. Cherry medicine, medicine.
I don't even know how he stands
Is
it
it a
back.
medicine or a medicine? Is it a medicine or a medicine?
I don't know.
That's what
He
I'm
can't
saying.
even
Is it a
stand.
medicine or metamoon? Because that's what we said. Medicine. We
It's
said
horrible.
medicine.
It's horrible.
Cherry
It's horrible.
medicine.
Uh, it's horrible. It's horrible. I can't even watch it anymore. I can't watch him anymore.
In fact, it was funny. I saw. Speaking of Kiss tributes, um, Bobby, what happened to be there, and we end up hanging out for a minute just to
The
watch
Get
Ace.
the Getch Man. The
Huh?
Getchell. The
No,
Getchell.
no,
No? Bobby
Bobby
Taylor.
Taylor.
Oh, I love Bobby Taylor. I love Bobby Getchell. I love Bobby Taylor more though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, but yeah, Bobby. I ran into him, and he's a big Ace guy. Even though he plays Peter, he loves Ace, and he was there, and we ended up hanging out watching. And when Ace was making some of his blunders, I was looking over at Bobby. I'm like, what the what's going on? What is he doing? And
It's horrible.
yeah.
It sounded like me when I first started playing. Speaking of your area, I will be down your area on Saturday near the Broken Goblet. Is near you?
Are you playing?
Yeah, I'll be at the Broken Goblet this Saturday.
Oh, I didn't know it was this week. All right. Well, I'll come up after. Yeah, I could probably make it.
Awesome. Yeah, come hang out.